So what we're going to do is we're here to expose it, let people tell their story, and let everybody in the public see the horrors of the court system in Suffolk County, New York.
Dr. Carlos Rivera, pediatrician, got divorced and ended up paying $15,000 a month to his ex. After paying $492,000 in 4 years, he still ended up having to go to jail for 6 months. Dr. Rivera has been forced into early retirement from his beloved profession due to finances and severe depression. He's been alienated from 2 of his children. He's been left with nothing. Yet, this isn't enough. His ex still wants him behind bars. Again, even his ex's boyfriend thinks this is wrong.
I actually believe fathers get fucked in court big time.
So how is this happening? How is the system allowing this to go on? In this Long Island Backstory special report, we'll investigate who is to blame for destroying a productive member of society just for getting a divorce.
Hi, I'm Gary Jacobs. Welcome to another edition of Long Island Backstory, where we are at the Suffolk County Supreme Court in central Islip, New York. You know, this is Hell Central. This is like where it all happens over here. Attorneys refer to this place as the Wild East because it's run by our corrupt chief judge, Judge Randall Hinrichs, and everybody just falls into line under him. Unfortunately, sadly, we're here for the Dr. Rivera saga once again, hoping today that when we go in, he gets justice. It's early in the morning, but as I look around, there's already looks like about 40 people here to support Dr. Rivera. Some people have brought their children, former patients of Dr. Rivera. It really says a lot. It's hard to get people out here during the week, yet this place is crowded. So we're going to go into the courtroom now, and we're going to see what happens today. And we're just praying that Judge Joseph does the right thing and realizes that this is all about money for his ex-wife and does the right thing and tries to do what's in the children's best interest. Let's go in the court and see what happens. Hi, Sean, do you want to comment on the fact that you were removed from the police department or the orders of protection you had against you and whether you violated them or not? You sent people Facebook messages saying they're not true. Is it true that you violated an order of protection?
I actually believe fathers get fucked in court big time. Do I think you're getting the shaft? Yes, I did. I didn't say she's right. Little fucking faggot. I'm gonna call the police. Where? She's gonna be okay because she has me. Tell you what, if my name comes on the radio show, I will sue you.
Sean, I understand while you were a police officer, you had an order of protection against you, and then you violated the order of protection. Is that why you were removed from the force? You're sending emails to people telling them that it's all a lie. Is that you? That's in there? What about Target? Whatever happened with the job at Target, Sports Authority, and Walmart? You want to comment on that? For all the money that you owe? It seems like you owe a lot of money. Is that why you're going after Dr. Rivera? Because of all the money that you owe for your unpaid parking tickets? As you saw when we're walking out of the court, we tried to ask Sean Laird, the Dr. Rivera's ex-wife's new boyfriend, about the allegations that he had, while he was a police officer, that he had an order of protection given against him for domestic violence, that he subsequently violated that order of protection, and then was subsequently asked to leave the police department. And this is what we read in newspaper articles and what we believe. We don't know if it's true, but we did ask him to comment on it, and he refused to comment, although in the courtroom he wanted to make a bunch of comments, which I asked him to do on camera. It's interesting that the guy seems to be a big shot on Facebook. He sends everybody messages all the time telling them don't necessarily believe everything that you read. Yet why doesn't he come out on camera and say that it's not true? He says it's not him. Our research shows that he owes tens of thousands of dollars in credit card bills. He has unpaid tickets. Perhaps this is the reason that he's going after Dr. Rivera, although he says he gets money wired into his account every month from the police department, so he doesn't really need the money. I don't know where all these bills came up from, but why doesn't he want to comment on it? We asked him about why he was asked to leave Target, why he was asked to leave Walmart, why he was asked to leave Sports Authority. It seems to me like the man has an anger issue. Dr. Rivera, he threatened Dr. Rivera. He called him a pussy at one of his child's school's events. So this big shot man, who's got a nasty looking face, why doesn't he come on camera and deny the charges if they're not true? We don't know. We're just asking if they're true or not. Come on camera and deny it. I know if you accuse me of any of these things that we're accusing him of, I would damn sure want to be in front of the camera and deny it. So we have some more people here. We have, what's your name, sir?
Randy Bazzogi.
And how do you know Dr. Rivera?
Dr. Rivera is my son's pediatrician. Great doctor, good man, great father. That's why I'm here to support him.
And is there anything you want to comment about what's going on here?
Just seems like a revenge thing. It's not right to treat someone like this.
Because what they're doing to Dr. Carlos Rivera, he also been my kid's pediatrician for a long time. I have 4 children. They're not giving him a chance to speak his mind and what he needs to do. I was in the courtroom today, and I actually seen how Judge Joseph actually works. And she seems to be putting more pressure on the gentlemen more than the women. I think it's unfair, and that's why we're here to support Dr. Carlos today.
Great, thanks for coming out. And we have here Mike Gilligan, founder of Smash Parental Alienation. So we know that he knows about parental alienation firsthand, yet he has a sign that says hold the judges accountable.
Well, again, I'm a father. I'm a retired New York City police officer. No father or man or person or parent in that state should ever have to look at jail for this type of thing. It's a debtor's prison that's been abolished for hundreds of years. There's got to be a civil way to come to a conclusion for this so that parents can parent their children.
Now, this is a great sign, child support, and you got dead broke dad. And we always say deadbeat dads. What about a dead broke dad? As they say, you can't get blood from a stone. So what is your name?
My name is Judy Rivera. I'm Dr. Carlos Rivera's sister. And I'm here to show support for him and show him that we love him regardless. He just wants to be with his children. He loves his children, and we just want to be there to back him up and show that they need to listen to his side as well.
And what is your name?
I'm Blanca Smith. I'm also Dr. Carlos Rivera's sister. And what the courts need to be aware is that they need to pay attention to both sides in all fairness. And the love that he has for his children has destroyed him, not being able to be there. And in all fairness, maybe the kids need to be heard because they'll be able to say the things that he's done for them.
My name is Kelly Mata.
And how do you know Dr. Rivera?
We were his first patients. And as you were saying, finding a doctor for a child with special needs is incredibly difficult. I have a 21-year-old with spina bifida, and they require so much paperwork and patience and kindness. And I'm not finding that. This is my 12-year-old daughter who refuses to go to any other doctor and cries when I make her go to the new pediatrician. We love him. He's not just a doctor. He's family. I mean, there's never going to be anyone better. He's kind. He's giving. He's became a doctor not for money, as I'm not blaming anyone. People do. He doesn't do it for the money. He does it because he loves our children.
I see it, and I see that you're supporting his radio show, and and him, exposing all the injustices. But I mean, it takes a lot for you to come out. I say you have, a disabled child at home. For you to come out and be here with your other daughter to support Dr. Rivera, that says a lot. If there's something you could speak to the judge, is there something you'd like to tell the judge that we could put on TV?
You need to realize that it's not only the mom who has rights. Dads have rights. Everyone involved. How about the children's rights? They lost out on having Carlos as a father. I mean, he's an amazing doctor, a wonderful friend, an amazing brother. I can't imagine missing out on that in my life.
And the fact that you brought your daughter here, I mean, a lot of people would say, not a lot of people, some people would say maybe you shouldn't bring her to a protest and show the support. I happen to think the other, you're showing how the system works and to fight for what's right. Did you have second thoughts about bringing her? What was her feelings about coming today?
I was going to say, even if I had second thoughts, she insisted on coming. She loves Carlos.
Would you like to say something?
Sure.
So what's your experience with Dr. Rivera?
He was my doctor since I was a baby.
And now that you don't have him anymore, how does that make you feel?
Like, I don't like going to the doctor anymore.
My name's Rebecca Wood,
And how do you know Dr. Rivera?
a friend of the family.
Okay, and so from you seen today, what do you think's going on here? What does the judge need to know about Dr. Rivera that you don't feel the judge is getting because you sat in the courtroom today?
I feel that he's a very loving and caring person, and I'm in support of him. And for someone to take away from the parent, like children should not be taken away from their fathers or mothers, and they shouldn't be threatened by jail. Like, that should not even be an option. I don't feel that that's right at all.
Dr. Rivera had a lot of supporters here today. The courtroom was totally filled to capacity. There was over 30 people there to support him, which is a lot for people to get to come out during the week and show their support. But that shows what kind of person Dr. Rivera is, that these people would all take off from work to come. And you can see some of the protesters behind me here that are out here to support him. They were all in the courtroom, so I think that made a big difference. We also have Carl Lancezera here, founder of Americans for Legal Reform, and you're usually not at a loss for words, Carl Lancezera. So what do you have to say about the fact that they're trying to incarcerate Dr. Rivera again?
They're equal. They really don't care who they incarcerate, as long as they incarcerate someone, as long as they take all the money from both parties. It ends up 0-0.
But there's no money left. They've already destroyed him. They've destroyed his career, taken all his money. Now it's just a number. It's over $500,000 in debt. So what's the point of going forward now?
Revenge. How dare he, disappointed her. God. How long is it going to keep until they die? She won't talk. Was she sober today?
Well, that was going to be my next question. I personally walked by her in the hall, and I could tell you that she reeked from alcohol. And then we went in there. Dr. Rivera's attorney, Judy Powell, questioned her whether or not she had been drinking this morning. And I think you heard her as well as I did, that she was slurring her words and confusing her dates. She totally appeared to be drunk to me. What was your impression?
Isn't there a law testifying while intoxicated?
That I don't know, but
driving. I forget.
It was clear to me that there was something going on here today. Did you have the same impression?
Yeah, something was wrong, and it's basically contempt of court. If you can't come sober, you're under the influence of some drug. How could you testify? How do you know your brain is maybe working sharper? Maybe it's working sharper. I don't know.
Well, I mean, even just walking down the hall, our cameraman noticed that she was unsteady on her feet, and the way when she was in the court, she was slurring her words. And we all noticed it. You would think the judge would notice it and ask to be tested.
Well, we've complained about judges, about lawyers being intoxicated. This is the first time. She's pro se, so she's her own lawyer. She's testifying. She's a lawyer while intoxicated. Got to be a law against it. If not, maybe we should make a law against it.
It certainly doesn't seem right. Well, Carl, from Americans for Legal Reform, keep up the good fight. You're doing a great job, and thank you for coming out here today to support Dr. Rivera. I know he really, really appreciates it. We're going to talk to him in a minute. He's a little bit emotional about what happened right now. So. We'll get him in a second. So, and here we have Judith Powell, Dr. Rivera's attorney. So, what happened today as opposed to the other hearing?
Nothing much. We had a Traverse hearing. The judge found that service was good on him, and she gave me very little time to respond. She gave me a week.
Now, is this standard? I know you said you have personal reasons that you don't want to disclose in front of a courtroom full of his supporters and everybody else. Is this normal for them to give you such a short return time? You've been practicing law for a long time on Long Island.
It just seems to me that, first of all, I've never had this much. Usually you get plenty of time on motions when a lawyer says they're going on vacation and there's issues involved, especially a motion of this magnitude. I mean, this is huge. This is a man who can go to jail for 6 months, and she's giving me a week.
It seemed like she wasn't happy about the fact you were going on vacation.
I'm sorry. I want to go on vacation. I was planning, I go on pretty much once a year, and I have things that I have to take care of, and I don't know how I'm going to get it done.
And let me ask you, he's not working right now because of his mental state, which I know you said you were going to bring up a motion to discuss it. What is the harm that's done? Nothing's going to change now, next week, and what is the harm that's going to be done? I could see if there was a matter of whether he's paying or not paying. What harm would be done? They're looking about how soon he goes to jail is the only issue I can see. Am I missing something?
I don't know why she won't give me more time. I really need reasonable time to. These are important papers. I don't want to take them lightly. So I'm really. It puts Carlos and I in a very big bind.
All right, well, thank you, and I guess you'll be doing papers for a while now, because I think, what did she give you, 10 days to, less than 10, a week to put them in, and that's a lot to do when you're practicing by yourself, you're doing this pro bono, well, $5, and he's facing incarceration, so that's pretty strong, so good luck, and I guess we'll see you back on the next return date. And now we have Kathry Cole from WLINY Radio. Her show is All Fact Up. I actually heard the show, but I didn't want to say it the wrong way, so I let you say. Kathry, welcome, and thank you for coming to support Dr. Rivera today. What made you come out and support Dr. Rivera today, take the time out of your busy schedule to be here?
Well, I expose corruption in school districts, and I saw Dr. Rivera on Facebook, and I have 5 children. What's more important than the health and safety of your children? And I contacted him, I interviewed him on the show, All Fact Up, and I just am still in disbelief. Even, that this man who has, so much integrity and has done so much to help other people, facing jail time. He was forced into a retirement, a career that he loved. We need more doctors and leaders like him. And he's facing jail time because of the exorbitant fee that he can't pay because he can't work.
Now, I know you mentioned that you had Dr. Rivera on your show once before, and you were off for the summer, but you had mentioned that you will keep continuing and following his story.
Oh, absolutely, and I'd like to support him in any way I can. I wish there was more that I could do. And honestly, if any lawyers out there would be interested in contacting Carlos, he really needs some. I mean, he has a wonderful attorney, but there's strength in numbers, and we need to come together to try and figure out a way to overcome this dysfunctional system.
Well, it's interesting because the last time I interviewed Judith Powell, his attorney, she said, look, I need other lawyers to be co-counsel and help me because it's me just standing like a crazy woman. Absolutely. But it's very difficult to get the lawyers in Suffolk County. It's an old boys club out here, and they're afraid if they get involved with a case like that their other cases are going to be damaged, and they're going to have a stigma on them because they're helping somebody like this and not just going with the system.
Right, well, shame on them, because we need people to stand up that have integrity and to stand up for the rights of people whose rights are being violated. I'm a whistleblower. I know what it's like to stand alone, and it's a very lonely, exhausting journey, and you need people that have integrity and who are knowledgeable to stand up and fight this corrupt system, or it's never going to change.
Well, thank you for standing out for the corruption. Appreciate that. So we do, and we look forward to listening to your show more. And Dr. Rivera is over here now. If we can just get a second with you, Dr. Rivera. Hi. What happened today? What's your feeling about what happened in court today?
It usually turns it. I don't quite understand the proceedings once we're inside the courtroom. I'm very glad that Judith was there to help defend me and to help resolve this issue. I feel that Judge Joseph tried to work with us the best she could. It's a complicated case. At this point, it's so complicated that I find most people want to just try to distance themselves and walk away. What I'm really looking for is to Judge Joseph to please look at all the information, see what I was held to, see what happened to me, and then make a decision as to whether she really feels I'm in contempt. I've lost absolutely everything.
We have Jeff Bloom, who is a mediator who came out here to support Dr. Rivera. And what is your experience about what's going on here? Just the fact that not necessarily what happened in court today, but just the whole reason that he's here.
Well, the whole reason is crazy. You hear stories like this all the time, and you don't believe it until you know the person. So if you were to just tell us as a third party, and based on the facts of this case, you would say Dr. Rivera's out of his mind. There's no way. See, he's not telling something. Something's not going on. That's not the case. It's really crazy what's going on.
Why isn't she saying to Mrs. Rivera or Mrs. Cartwright, stop it already, cut it out, let this man do what he can do, try to get him better mentally so he can go on with his life? Why is she even talking about putting him in jail? Why isn't she yelling at her, stop it already? It's enough. You put him in jail. You got your pound of flesh. Leave the man alone. She's not concerned about Dr. Rivera's kids. There's something more going on here that I think we're missing. If you were getting $100,000 a year, you think you could afford to live on that?
Damn right. I don't even get near that, and I'm living. So these people are just so corrupt, taking everything they can, and living high on a hog.
We're back with Dr. Rivera, who's somewhat composed himself. Obviously, this is a very emotional thing being there because, as you had said previously, it's not just the idea of going to jail. It's the idea of not seeing your children again. And I think one of the things that hasn't been discussed, when you were in jail last time, your son was sick. And I don't think people realize this. Why don't you talk about it? Let me just tell one story first. Sure. We went, you said to me one night, we had become friends after doing the show, and I heard your story. And we had said one night, you said, Gary, I want to have a good night out. My friend gave me tickets to a ZZ Top concert. And me, you, and a friend of ours, Tony Giordano, went to ZZ Top. You said, I just want a nice night out to relax. Personally don't like ZZ Top, but you like them. So we went there, and after the opening act, we were in the lobby of Westbury Music Fair, and a man literally dropped dead on the floor right there of a massive, massive heart attack. You immediately jumped down on the ground. You started doing chest compressions. You did mouth to mouth, but you did a little piece over his mouth. But you did mouth to mouth. You put a defibrillator on him. You shocked the man 3 times, and the ambulance took a long time to get there. I think it took about, I was just standing there in shock because you were dripping wet on the floor trying to help this stranger's life, and you did keep him alive until the ambulance came. I don't know what happened after that because, as you said, he had a major heart attack. But what got a friend of mine who was there, he said, if the judge would have put him in jail, this man would have died. And he said, you know what, it really struck a chord with him. And I said, you know what, you're right, with the collateral damage. And you had an incident with your son. Thank God he's okay. But tell us what happened when you were in jail, and then we'll go back to today.
I want to go back to ZZ Top story because I feel for the individual who went there. He was with his brother to have a good time, and his brother witnesses his brother having a heart attack. And it's like, my God, how horrible. And I'm blessed to have had the chance to do what I do. So I enjoy it. Oh God, I'm having a tough time today.
No, but I think it was, but you didn't stop. You didn't skip a beat. You didn't even think about it. And let me tell you, there was other doctors there. There's a couple thousand people. You jumped down and started helping this guy.
No, it just seemed like it was something that you had to do. Like it happened right in front of me, and it's just like, we have to jump into action. This is what needs to be done to try to help save this man. And I'm grateful that I was there. I'm not quite sure of the outcome, but I'm very I'm happy that I did all I could do to help. And I felt so tough for his brother that he had to witness that. But one of the things is I chose this profession because I love what I do, and it's all about helping people. And that was the best part. And that's what I try to do continuously. And I miss being a physician. I truly miss it a lot. I have people here that here to help support me. That I used to take care of their children, and it was more that I made friends and took care of their kids along the way. And it's because of this, it's been taken away. It's like, why is that? It doesn't make any sense. And I think that when you look back and what happens, like, I wish the courts would look at that now, because it's almost like I get portrayed as being some kind of bad guy or somebody who's done something wrong. It's like I'm guilty of trying to do more than I was capable of actually providing, and that's why I'm here. I'm in $500,000 worth of debt and arrears. It's a 9% interest. I lost my practice. I lost absolutely everything, and the worst part is I'm alienated from 2 of my children. So no matter what I do, and I try to comply with the court, my ex-wife gets away with torturing me, ruining my life, and keeping my kids away from me. And that's been the most inhumane punishment of all, is to have 2 children I had a loving relationship with now that refuse to talk to me. And then, they from the reports I get, have very unflattering things to say about me. And that's what hurts the most, the humiliation and poverty. I can get over that. That's fine. You mentioned the story with my son when I was incarcerated. It's actually a long story, but I'll try to bridge it down into, it was tough to get my kids on the phone to begin with, because my ex-wife was not very compliant with that phone call schedule. When I eventually, it was about a week and a half, I didn't hear from my children, and my son got on the phone first, that's when he used to speak to me, and I was like, hey, buddy, how you doing? He goes, oh, Dad, I had a crazy week. I was in the hospital. They did surgery on my neck, and I had an IV. I was like, I'm sorry, can you repeat that? And he told me the story again, and, it turns out that he had a growth in his neck that they weren't sure what it was, and that the surgeon did a drainage of it, and they couldn't quite figure out what was going on. He was in the hospital. So I get it. I asked to speak to his mother on the phone. It's like, he's in the hospital and you can't even tell me what's going on. She says, well, there's nothing you could do about it anyway. Well, sadly, the swelling in his neck returned, and it was unsure. We were unsure at that point whether or not he was cancer or something terrible. And suddenly, at that point, she wanted to talk to me because she, now it sounded like it might be cancer. So now I'm in in jail trying to coordinate my son's care and who she should talk to get him seen. And, there's no mention of this, that she kept me in jail. She could have had me released. I was facing, if God forbid something was wrong with my son, I wouldn't have been allowed to see him. The only way I would have been able to get out of jail is if I was a death in the family. If there was a death in the family, I'd be allowed to go for 15 minutes shackled, like you see in TV shows with two sheriffs, and I get 15 minutes with that person. So with my son being sick, just picture being a parent. There's a serious concern that your son may have cancer, and I'm stuck in jail for my inability to sustain a lifestyle that she wants, and for a monetary amount that I can't make. So these are just one of the many stories that I'll write about later, because I try to suppress them because it's too hard to think about. But, what I try to do now, and I'm grateful that you're here, I try to give people a voice so this doesn't happen to them. I live with the thought of maybe going back to jail. So I lost my job. I'm supposed to find another job now. And what am I supposed to say on an application interview? Oh, well, I'm ready to start, but there's a good chance I could spend 6 months in jail pending what happens with my court hearings. It's insane.
And I understand from your attorney that you're having trouble concentrating, and you haven't been helping her with preparing for court, and you don't show up, and you stay in bed because you're depressed. How does that factor?
It's actually been horrible in that I've been working with the psychiatrist to try to help me through. The alienation threw me over the edge and broke me. It really did. But I'm trying to work with, getting my therapeutic regimen set and therapy. But it's hard. And again, I live with the thought of, am I going to jail? Is this going to happen all over again? And I ask people, try to live your life like everything's just fine. Go back and program computers, go work in a hospital, go try to be a judge or a lawyer and try to see a case. When your life is upside down and being torn apart, and it's, at every turn, you could be going back to jail for not just 6 months now. The judge can give me 2 or 3 concurrent terms. So I could spend a year and a half of my life in jail again because I can't afford to pay $13,500 a month in child support. It's insane. The Wall Street Journal says that it costs $250,000 to raise a child from birth to 18 years of age. I don't see why this court can't look at my paperwork and say, these numbers are astronomical, they're unfeasible, this needs to be reworked to something that this person can afford. I don't mind paying a large sum of money, make it a large sum of money within my earning potential. And that's the problem. That's what I hope that Judge Cheryl Joseph actually looks at this and looks where Judge Luft failed to look and where my other attorneys, Pat Kerr and Don Salah, failed to illustrate of all the money I gave and how hard I tried for a vindictive ex.
I wish you luck, and as I told you, we're going to keep following the story. I know you have your own radio show now on WLINY, which they can listen online, in the best interest of the child. You've been a guest on Jay Oliver's show, which is an amazing show because that's really the best coverage for a local Long Island News. Long Island News Radio on the AM. Jay Oliver show in the morning's been covering your case. Kathy Cole was here earlier. She's doing it just the...
Eric Kopelman,
Eric Kopelman's been very supportive. I know Frank Vetro, who's done shows on corruption. He's covered your case. A lot of people are out there covering your case. And you know what? We got to get good resolution because nobody's going to give up.
I would like to also thank this another show, the Child Support Hustle in Texas with Kenya Rahman, has been very helpful following my story. And a special thanks to Fletcher Long of The Long Version. He's a Tennessee disc jockey, has his own 2-hour radio show called The Long Version. And he's been very supportive, and I ask people that are fighting for justice in the court system to support reporters like Gary Jacobs from Long Island Backstory, Fletcher Long and Kenya Rahman, as well as others who are fighting the cause. And my special thanks to WLINY for giving a voice and not just giving me an opportunity to be on the radio, but to actually be here to help support and to help fight against corruption.
And that was nice that they covered the story live today, this morning. They covered live radio coverage of your case. Gary Jacobs, again, thank you for joining us at Long Island Backstory. It doesn't cost anything to share the show. Please share the show on social media, Twitter, Instagram, websites, anywhere you can. The more people that see it, the better. This is for Dr. Rivera, and it doesn't cost anything. Please like our page on Facebook. Just go to Long Island Backstory, and we'll see you again next week.
Long Island Backstory. Chief Correspondent Gary Jacobs is uncovering the truth on Long Island. The family court system. Red light cameras. corruption in local politics, the heroin epidemic, corrupt judges. At Long Island Backstory, we uncover the truth that the Cablevision news monopoly won't dare touch. We uncover the details you won't see on News 12 or in Newsday. We are local independent media at its best. Long Island Backstory, available on Public Access TV and on YouTube.